chapter, that is chapter 11, King for a Day. Okay. So before we begin, I hope you have read many stories about kings and queens before. Okay. So have you ever considered what it might take to be a king? Okay. Do you know the feeling? For example, one day you are asked that you are a king for a day. So how does that feel? How does even that thought make you feel? Okay. So would you like to be a king for a day? Only for a day, would you like to be a king? Answer would be, of course. If I get the opportunity, why not? Yes or no? So, the story starts with Halt and Go declared the self-crowned king. How dare you drink from my river without a word to acknowledge my presence? So, we begin with the story where here we don't know who it is, but here the creature is saying that halt and go. Okay, just wait and then you go. Okay, declare self-crowned king. Okay, he is not a king actually. He is a self-declared king. He believes that he is a king. Okay, so he is saying that how dare you drink from my river without a word, without saying or without asking or seeking my permission to acknowledge my presence. Okay, to admit or accept my presence, that a king is sitting there and should I not ask him first and then drink this water from the river? So he's saying that how can you do that? The old buffalo stopped in his tracks while his rheumy eyes. Now what is rheumy eyes means? Full of rheum, full of water. Okay, so the old buffalo stopped when he was walking and he took eyes took in the fox before him. So he looked at the fox, then he wheezed. Okay, breathed noisily. Okay, like as if he's angry. I've had refreshing draught from this river since I was a young calf. So he's saying that the buffalo is saying that I have been drinking this river water since I was a young calf. Okay, no one has ever stopped me. Who created this new rule? Okay, now who has created that I have to seek a permission from you, especially from you? Okay, I did, declared the fox. And who is that king? A fox. Okay, and he said that I did. I made this rule. Okay, his nose in the air, declared the fox, his nose in the air. Can't you see how magnificent my throne is? He's saying that can't you see how beautiful and how magnificent, okay, my throne is? Or the shimmering glory of my crown, or can't you see the glory and the way my crown is shining? Okay, you shall not drink a drop until I allow you to. Okay, hence I am the monarch of all I survey. So he's saying that you cannot drink even a drop until I give you the permission. Okay, hence I. So he is addressing him as Bhais Bhai. Okay, Bhais in Hindi, buffalo we call Bhais. So Bhais Bhai is addressing as Bhai. Okay, you cannot drink even a drop. Okay, you will not have even a drop unless you ask my permission. Okay. What? Stumbled the buffalo. Then hurry with your permission, will you, O monarch? So he's saying that then hurry up. If you have to give me the permission, okay, then hurry up, allow me to drink. You just have to repeat this verse of tribute to myself that I have composed. Say the words after me, Bhais Bhai. The fox continued from his perch and he began to chant. So he's saying that, no, I cannot allow you easily. You have to chant some of these lines, okay, then you are allowed to drink the water. So Bhais Bhai, the buffalo said, okay, whatever it is, give me fast, I'll do it. So the chant, the praise of the fox starts here. Exquisite crown, majestic throne, a wonderful king to the very bone. Sounds like gibberish to me, muttered the buffalo, but I am too thirsty to argue. So I will repeat this nonsense to get myself a drink for now. The buffalo quickly muttered the words under his wheezy breath. So he's saying that you have to chant this. Okay, this is a line. Okay, for praising me or addressing me. Okay, addressing your king. So only if you address this, only if you say this line, okay, then only I can allow you to drink the water from this river. So he's saying whatever it is, give me fast. Whatever the chant is, I will say it so that I can drink. I'm so thirsty. And then he says that you have to say this line. The line is exquisite crown, majestic throne. Okay, a wonderful king to the very bone. hearing this, he says that how gibberish, what nonsense, gibberish means what nonsense, what meaningless rubbish thing you are saying. Okay, does it even mean anything? So the buffalo said, but he said that I'm so thirsty, I cannot argue with you. Whatever it is, I'll say it. So he quickly repeats the nonsense, whatever it is, and he drinks the water. The fox was thrilled with the success of his plan, and the fox was, fox are very cunning. So soon after he hears that the one in front of him is praising for him, so he becomes so happy. Okay, just hours ago he had been wandering through town in search of a bite, but not a rabbit did he find, not a plate of day-old rice and dal, not even rotis with thick curds. All he found were an ancient pair of embroidered shoes or jutis by a rubbish dump. So, how did this idea had first came to his mind is, so when, as usual, when he was going for his, for the search of food, so usually he used to find something to eat for a bite, okay. Sometimes he used to hunt for him a rabbit, okay. Sometimes he used to find a plate of old rice and dal. Sometimes he used to find roti or even a curd, okay, thick curd. But today he did not find anything like that. Besides that, what did he find was a very antique piece of a pair of embroidered shoes, okay, with lot of embroidery done in the shoes, okay, shoes, or we can call it as jutis, okay. So by a dump it was there. So he finds it there. As he began to gnaw at the shoes, he found even his sharp teeth could not make a dent. So, as today he did not get anything to eat, so he was even trying to eat the juti first. But even his sharp teeth could not tear or wound it. Okay. After half an hour of worrying them, the fox was about to toss away his unappetizing lunch when a thought flitted through his mind. So, as he was trying for half an hour, but he could not do anything, he could not eat also the jutis. So one idea just emerged to his mind. The jutis, he muttered, might not be the pick of the menu for the lunch, but they still look rather pretty. So he's saying that though jutis are not in my lunch today, okay, as a food today, but I have one idea. They are pretty beautiful, okay, they are pretty good looking. The golden threads that patterned their burnished red leather uppers glint under the sun. What if we tie them together and wore them as a crown? So he's saying that the juti looks pretty to me. Okay. So why not we tie it together and wear it as a crown? Thrilled by his own brilliance. So he was very proud about what he said and what that idea has come to his mind. Okay. He was thrilled, he was excited. The fox decided it would be super to be a king, or at least to try the experience for a while. So, wearing his new final crown, he wandered off to the riverside just outside the town. So, soon after that idea came to his mind, he did that, okay, he tied both the jutis together with a golden thread, okay, and then he wore it as a crown, okay. And then he was just wandering around, just walking around the riverside just outside the town. As the waters gurgled by, the fox wondered how to fashion a throne for himself. So as the river water was flowing and as he was all alone wearing that crown or juti on his head, so he started thinking that how can I create a throne for myself, a sitting place, okay, just like a king has, okay. So he collected a huge pile of bones. What he did was he collected a huge pile of bones stored by the river bank, which was just lying at the river bank, okay. Now what that bones could be? The bones could be of dead animals, birds, so which was just lying over there. He collects that, the leftovers from animals that had divorced their prey. The fox placed a layer of bones in one direction, so he started piling it together, okay. Then another layer across them. Hours later, he had a mound taller than himself. So what he did was, he started collecting and he starts building high those bones, okay, thrown for himself. But it still bore a little resemblance to a door. So he thought that, but still it isn't that resembling, okay, that's not too similar looking like a throne. So he again thought that what can he do, how can he improve it, okay. So he collected clay from the riverbed and plastered it thickly over the bone mound. So what he did, he started collecting wet mudds, okay, clay from the river bank, and he started just pasting it, okay, drawing it. Brushing the sweat off his brow, so he just brushed off his sweat of the brow. The fox stepped back to admire his own handwork. So he just goes back and saying that, wow, what a beautiful creation, how beautifully I created this stone. Okay, so he's patting himself back and he's saying he's so proud of himself. Impressed, he clambered onto it with great difficulty. He placed his bushy tail at a jaunty angle and settled his crown firmly on his brow. As he sat there, twirling a neem branch between his fingers as he imagined a king would, he heard the sound of heavy breathing. So, as soon as he finishes admiring his throne, he goes and just sits and relaxes in his throne, okay, just waving his tails and then just holding a neem branch on his hand between the finger and just waving to him, okay. So just like how a king does. And then suddenly he hears the sound of heavy breathing. That's when the old buffalo lumbered, and that's when this old buffalo came to drink water from the river bank, which we started. Okay, now even as the buffalo was immersed noise deep in the gurgling waters, a huge brown bear appeared down the forest track. So soon after that, a huge brown bear appears down the forest track. Okay. Halt and go, Bhalu Chacha. So he's saying that, just wait and go, Bhalu Chacha, roared the fox, okay, waving his neem branch fiercely, okay, waving to himself. How dare you pass your monarch without greeting him? So look at his guts. So he's saying that, Bhalu Chacha, just wait, okay. How can you just pass by without greeting your monarch, your king? Never heard such nonsense in all my long years as a grizzly, growled the bear. So he said that I have never heard such a nonsense in my life. I'm this old now, I have never heard I have to greet a king and that's you. What's the matter this time? Nobody's ever stopped me from quenching my thirst before. So he said that nobody has ever stopped me that you cannot drink water from here. Okay, who are you? What happened to you? Are you kidding? Answered the bear. Let me pass at once. What kind of a silly joke is this? Doesn't even make me laugh. So he's saying, are you joking with me? Because if you're joking with me, it's a rubbish joke. It's not even making me laugh. Everyone who wants to drink from my river must sing my praises, insisted the fox on his throne. He repeated the lines he had composed once more. So he's saying that everyone, whoever passes by this riverside and who wants to drink water from this riverside, he or she, that creature has to praise me, okay, the line that I have just composed. Disgruntled at such a waste of time, the bear cast a wary look at the strange creature on the raised dice and mumbled hastily. What throne? Just a pile of rubbish. What crown? Just down at the heel sandals. What king? Just a scoffy old fox. But I have no time to waste on debating this job. So he looks angrily, okay, this bear looks angry to the fox, but he's saying that, what throne you are talking about? It is just a pile of rubbish, okay. What crown you are talking about? It's a heel, it's a sandal that you are just put it down, okay. What a king! You are a scoffy old fox, okay, you are not king, but I don't want to waste my time debating about this job, okay. And he muttered explicit, and then he said, okay, whatever it is, I want to drink water, okay, so tell me fast. So then he mutters, exquisite crown, majestic throne, a wonderful king to the very bone. You sound great, Bhalu Chacha, applauded the fox. Your education teacher at school must have been outstanding. So he's saying that you sound so nice, Bhalu Chacha, you said it so well. Okay, your education teacher, your teacher must be so proud of you because you are so good in it, reciting it. Before he could round off his sentence, the bear was drinking deeply from the river, paying no attention to this pretender to the throne. So the bear just did what he was asked to. He said it and he started drinking water. He's not paying attention to what the fox was praising or whatever he's saying. Within a minute, an elephant appeared through a leafy groove, munching to a tender twig as he swayed from side to side. Hurry up, yelled the fox to the bear. Here comes the mighty elephant. I'm sure you will object to the way you muddy the river waters with your messy drinking. So he's saying that as soon as the bear was drinking water from the river, the elephant appears, okay, from the jungle side. And then he says that, okay, now bear, you have to hurry up, Bhalu Chacha, you have to hurry up. Because the way you are drinking it in a very messy way. You're making water muddy. So the elephant might object. Okay, so please hurry up and drink and just go. Turning to the elephant, the fox continued. Wait a while, Hathi Dadaji. Don't rush past me. Can't you see I'm the new king of the riverside? Everyone who comes by to drink has to recite the verse I have composed. So he's saying that, wait a minute, Hathi Dadaji. So what he's addressing? Hathi Dadaji. So he's saying that, wait a minute. Anyone who passes by the riverside has to greet me and ask for permission to drink water from this riverside, and also have to recite what I have composed, okay, for my praise. Edging past the mock throne, the elephant thrust in his trunk into the river, snorting exquisite crown, majestic throne. Then his enormous form, crocking with laughter, he calmed down. A wonderful, his last words were drowned in hoots of laughter that spitting into the air as praise. So, elephant was, he couldn't control the praise that fox told him to recite. Okay, so he was saying it and he was also drinking water. So when he was in the last line, a wonderful king, then he spits out, he throws out all the water, because when you are laughing and if you have water inside your mouth, what happens? You spit and the water sprays. Okay, so same thing happened and the water was like a spray in the air. Not too bad, though you are not of the same caliber as the buffalo or the bear, noted the fox. I don't know if the words tend to get stuck up your tongue. So he's saying that not bad, okay, you can improve, okay, but you don't have the potential like how the bear or the buffalo has done. Okay, they have said very well. But he stopped in mid-sentence as his eye spied a flash of black and gold. A tiger emerged, striding neatly towards the water. Excuse me, Baksa, called the fox. More wary this time. You'll have to recite a verse for me as a free for drinking from my river. Haven't you noticed a new king by the river? So he's saying that as soon as he was discussing with the elephant, the bagh enters. Okay, the tiger enters the jungle and he's saying that, excuse me, with a very strong voice. He said, excuse me, you have to recite a verse for me. Then only you can drink as a free, as a gift. You can drink water from this river. Okay, the tiger's eyes glinted. Okay, was shining dangerously as he surveyed the scene. So he's just looking around what he's saying, or is it true or not? Okay, he always wins top prizes for recitation. He rushed through the verse between growls, then dashed across the river. By now the fox was so solemn with pride that he made plans to tease and bully every creature that ever walked the earth. So even the tiger recited, okay, the verse, and by far fox was so proud of himself that in such a short time, so many creatures, okay, the tiger, the elephant, the bear, the buffalo, everyone has surrendered and agreed to recite the verse that he has composed. So he was feeling so proud, and then he thinks to continue the same to other creatures as well. At sundown, when the other creature had wandered home laughing over the latest animal world joke, a large lizard crawled by the fox. So as it was getting evening, so this rumor has spread throughout the jungle, and by far everyone was talking that, near the riverside there is this fox where you have to recite this, then you can drink the water. So it was like a joke and every creature was laughing. Okay, it was a rumor and everyone was laughing and enjoying. So at that moment only one large lizard, okay, and wild lizard crawled by the fox. Shadowy at first it was, he could see only the shadow first. He looked like, in a shadow, he looked like a crocodile. Okay, the fox shuddered at the prospect of a close encounter with him. So fox was a little scared if it could be a crocodile. But when he realized its really identity, he yelled out. Okay, when it came close, he came to know it was a lizard. And then he yelled out, "How dare you pass by without recognizing your new king?" He said the same thing. Okay, every time you come down for a drink, you have to pay me the tribute of a verse. Here, repeat after me. Okay, so he's saying that every time you have a tribute of come down to drink water, you have to tribute me by saying this, reciting this verse. So repeat after me. The lizard walked, okay, at the fox on his shooting throne. So the lizard was laughing, looking at his shooting throne. Okay, "I can't believe my ears," he declared. So he's saying that, "I can't believe my ears what you have composed." Okay, first finest lines I've ever heard in all that. Where the most brilliant poets in our land come together to compete, but it would be unfair to recite them when my voice is so hoarse. Ashamed to barely croak out such charming poetry. Why don't I have a sip before I try? So he's saying that the lizard is very cunning here. So he's saying that you have composed such a beautiful line. Okay, I go every year for this Kavi Sammelan. Okay, and so many kavis and so many poetries I have heard by far, but yours is something very beautiful and very creative. Okay, so it would not be fair if I recite those words when my voice is not clear. So may I drink, if you give me, allow me the permission. So may I drink a little bit water and then can I recite the verse for you? Now flattered the fox, puffed up his chest and said, Chipkali Pandit, you are truly wise. So here the fox, hearing that, he becomes so proud and his chest is totally puffed and he's like, Chipkali Pandit, you are truly wise creature. Okay, you recognize merit when it comes your way. Okay, help yourself, drink a little water. Your recitation will be all the better for it. Imagine if you cut between lines, God forbid. So he's saying that you are the wise creature. Okay. Now help yourself, drink a little water and recite. Your recitation will be far better. Okay. So go ahead, drink water first. The lizard waddled down to the river bank and began to drink. He drained litters and litters of the river water, but his thirst seemed unquenched. In panic, the fox called out, Stop, Chipkali Pandit, stop. Are you all drained by my river dry? My throat still feels parched, responded the lizard, looking up a moment. He drank for more long minutes before he eased his dipping nose from the water and began to win his way home. So, as he gave the permission, so here the lizard is continuously drinking water. Okay, he is continuously drinking, and fox was worried that he said that, Chipkali Pandit, stop. You're continuously drinking. Okay, you will drain my river dry. You're going to make my river dry. So how long you've been drinking? So he's saying, again he raised up his head, the lizard raised up his head and saying that I'm still thirsty. Okay, parched means thirsty. Okay, I'm still thirsty. Responded the lizard, looking up a moment, and he's saying that please wait for some more time, let me drink. So he dips the entire nose and the head and he starts drinking. And he began to win his way home. And after the river water is dry, he drinks all the water, then he quietly goes back to his home. Okay, just a minute, called the fox. Haven't you forgotten something important? Then the fox said, just a minute, where are you going? Haven't you forgotten something? If you don't begin right away, said the fox, I'll make sure you never return to the safety of your home in a hole. So repeat the lines clearly after me. So he's saying that if you do this strict cleverness with me, you're not going to go home safely. Okay? So come on, repeat the lines after me. Even as the fox began prompting him, the lizard interrupted. I remember it all very clearly now. Immortal words. So he's saying that, so as the fox was prompting him, so you have to say this. Okay. So he's saying, I know what I have to say. Okay. So it's a immortal word. It's like never dying words. Okay. So I know. So quickly he declaimed in a loud voice. Pile of mud with bones beneath, a lazy fox wearing a shoe red, and the lizard squared away at double pace through the grassy knolls that lined the river bank and vanished into the safety of his home. So did you notice? So the line that he composed, okay, the fox composed, he did not repeat that at all. Instead, he composed something very genuine, what was happening there. So he said that pile of mud with bones beneath, a lazy fox wearing a shoe red. So he said that and he ran. Okay, and this is spread away in a double pace to a grassy knolls that lead to his home. Okay. Defeated by his subject Sherchik, the fox threw his crown of shoes into the river. Okay, so just witnessing the cleverness of the lizard, okay, the fox got so angry, so annoyed that he kicks and he threw his crown of shoes, okay, and kicks, demolish, that means kicks his spoils his throne and ran all the way back to the patch of the scrub that was his home. Again, he goes back to his home, the fox. The king for a day had decided royalty was not all that it was made out to be after all. So here he understood that the king for a day, he decided that royalty was not a cup of tea for him, okay, was not made out to be after all for him, okay. So he has to be what he is. So he could enjoy this only for a short time, okay. So the irony is that, see, all the other creatures, like you see the bauxite, the elephant, the buffalo, okay, the bear, these are two, like, you can count them as a dangerous animals, okay, and still they got trapped in this, and they recited a verse which was asked to repeat for them. But the lizard, the tiny small creature, okay, he showed up his cunningness, how smart, how clever he is, and he tricked the fox, and he showed him the mirror, the truth, that what he is actually. He's not a king or anything, but he's just a pile of, he's sitting on a pile of rubbish. He's not a king, he's just a fox. Okay, so that's the story of your chapter 11, King for a Day. I hope you have understood. Okay, read again the book and then we'll start with the question answers tomorrow. Thank you.